bags and cleaning up. Hold on, I'm gonna get it for you.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing fine.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah.
I appreciate water. Thank you so much, though. No, just one. No, just one is enough. I'm positive. You're very great. You're very gracious, though. I'm good. Thank you so much, though. How are you guys doing today? I'm good. Thank you. I'm good, though. I see you guys sometimes here. What do you do?
Well, we read our Bible and pray, and just stay here like it's our command to be here until we can get a better place. It's kind of strange, right?
It is very strange. And do you have like resources?
Resource?
Yes.
Well, at one time we did, but they told me that I guess the resources weren't that good for what they wanted. It was like food stamps and stuff like that. But they wanted me to get in some program of this and spend hours there if they're gonna give me $150 a month.
A program you would be spending hours a day.
Like 8 hours a day, every day, except the weekends, and give me $150
per month. That's ridiculous.
I know.
And what were you supposed to do there?
We're supposed to go to like social services. They had the program for people who wanted food stamps. In order to keep getting food stamps, you had to get in this program. They told me I had to go 8 hours a day. I was like, 8 hours a day? That don't sound right. Are you sure? He said, yes, but we're not going to give it to you. I said, okay, well, I just don't get it then, because I might as well just go and get a job and try to get a job paying me better than that. Because I can't live off $150 a month. And so, but they did that, I guess, is because once the system makes you think they love you or they think they're going to treat you right, then they start showing you they don't care about you. So
actually, like, nobody cares about you,
right.
You know, and that's pretty much something like you have come to an agreement to it, you know what I mean? And like, I'm very grateful for the water you offered, because like, yeah, but
you're real welcome anytime you have anything. You're welcome, you know.
But yeah, it seems like nobody cares about you here in the United.
I know, you notice that? When you think about it, it's reality.
It's actually more than that, actually. I would say that there is a systematic problem here in the United States, and
yeah, you got that exactly right.
The social contract is definitely non-existent, and there's definitely a problem with like homelessness. I have noticed that, and there is no denying that. And there is also another problem I have noticed, which is that of massive black male incarceration.
Come on, that's interesting. That's true.
Because those are the two things that I've noticed in this country: the problem of homelessness and the problem of massive black male incarceration, and targeting of poor people of color. Hispanics are going there as well. I have noticed this.
Now tell me something, because this is interesting. Now I know that all black males or all black people are not from the same race. You know, we're the same race and blood. Well, you know, we come from different places, whatever. But it doesn't change the fact that to them, I think they categorize us as just that color, and that we're victimized by our color. Why? It's because if you get a few black people to do something wrong, then I'm labeled too as being one with them. Like, for example, if a drug dealer is black and he hangs out in a certain spot, then they become annoyed by them being in that spot.
Well, I think we also have to talk about these so-called drug dealers, because I was talking to a few of them, and it's not like they have like very rich, like it's not like they were given all the opportunities in the world. They come from very poor backgrounds, and It's not like
Yeah.
I want to victimize them.
Okay.
I mean, but there is definitely a problem that someone else was telling me that he has to sell drugs, for example, because that's the only way he can earn an income, and that's a problem, though. And now I'm like thinking more and more about legalizing marijuana, because like I don't understand why someone who is poor and making money of selling that should be sent to jail if he's not committing violence, really, because a large majority of the people I know who may be selling drugs are not committing violence. There is drug violence, but it's not like all of them are committing violence. And so I think we should be careful of the people we are sending to jail. I think we should really be careful of the people we are sending to jail.
Yeah, because isn't it funny because they got the stuff out. They got the what do you call the stuff that make them take the clothes off? They got all kinds of different kind of drugs. Now it's not the marijuana, but it's dippers or something, and some of them be taking the clothes off. But they got different ones. Now you got people that know what the different drugs do, but then the marijuana is not the same as it back at all. But it don't change the fact that they legalize it in other places, and so you know what I mean.
Well, it is legal. I mean, they say it's legalized in DC, but it's like really fuzzy, though. No one truly understands the law, and I'm trying to go to the people who are supposed to be knowledgeable of the law, and yet we're living in post-constitutional America, and I've written extensively about that as well. So like,
And that's something that's interesting. That's interesting because it is fuzzy. It's so fuzzy that you don't know how to touch it, because what I'm getting between the
I think the
lines-
law advantages like those who are rich. It's okay. I think the law works for rich people. It doesn't work for poor people.
No.
It doesn't work for poor people of color who are trying to know more about the law. It actually works against them if they know more about the law, because they don't want you to know more about the law. They don't. That's that person who's trying to talk about equal rights, human rights, civil rights. They don't want that.
No. And so is it possible that what their aim really is to do away with the black race? Is it possible?
I think I would not say that, but I think they definitely do. There is a racism problem in this country, and I think there is no denying that. I think they have. I think it has been documented, and so it's not something that has been made up. You know what I mean? Like, no one is making stuff up. It's documented, and I think we should talk more about it. Instead of spending time on or some other social network or social media which talks specifically about stars. I think we should really talk about the problems of poor people and try to help them solve their issues, instead of talking about all these rich celebrities whose problem is that of what color shoes am I gonna wear today, or that's irrelevant. That's complete irrelevance.
It is, and it's amazing because they want everybody to, what do you call it, it's like to climb the mountain of the heights of how they glorify themselves in their wealth, but then they're so troubled, but then it also affects me, it affects my mind. Their troubles affects me because I don't really want to really see you glory in your own failure. But yet, the real thing, like you said, what we should focus on is how can we help the poor? How can we reach the people who we say are a problem, but really we ain't making no efforts to really reach out to the problem, to do something about the problem. We just talk about it. They talk about it, and so it's something. It troubles my mind because I'm trying to figure out. The black people are very smart. Many of them go to college. They're very bright, and they're not.
But even that is a problem, though. It
Okay.
seems now that educated young black males are also having problems getting a job, and the unemployment rate for black people who have a higher level of education is twice higher than their Caucasian peers, and so there is also a problem in that regards.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So, I mean, what would you say? I mean, what are you picking up about it as far as like, because there's a problem. Being there is a problem. What do you think? What do you think the issue to that problem? What do you think the problem? What do you think it is? What do you think the focus is about that? You don't know if it's a target about that? Is a target? Are they targeting something?
I think it's. I think we have. Not every story is the same, but
Okay.
I think there is definitely like this profiling of black males, and that's definitely like not. I think that's something we should talk more about,
Yeah.
and I think we also have to talk about their criminal background or what's called criminal in this country. You know, like I think that's an issue like that's been way overlooked.
Yeah.
It's very easy for anyone to bring charges upon someone for like the most ludicrous thing. It's very easy for people to bring charges against you in court and then like drag you through a system that's quite racist in its nature. And so like I think that's like I think we have got to study like each case on its own merits, but there's definitely a targeting of blackmail, and I think on your resume, I think it should be blank. I think it should not. You should not have to answer what your color is. I think that would make it at least a bit fair.
I thought that too.
But I think would also be better if you didn't have to give your name and just send in what you know and see like how that works out. Like just pure qualification. I'm not sure if someone who is called James Smith will have higher advantage, on getting hired than like someone whose last name happens to be Muhammad. I'm not sure.
That's something else.
Even the name, I think, like plays a factor in who is interviewed first. You know what I mean? I think that's something like that's not talked about.
But see, that's interesting because what you just said. Because to be honest with you, I really do believe that the president of the United States,
Barack
they-
Hussein, yes.
yeah, if a person has the last name Muhammad, they might just get the job. I mean, they just might just get the job. And I say that because this country is really they really focus on promoting the person who has the Muslim name over the citizens, over any other race, really. I say that because I think they want to take over. They want a takeover so that they can look like the Muslim man or the Muslim people are going to take over our country when it's really they're trying to take over. It's kind of strange. It's going to be a takeover. I know that. The military and police are working together, so it's no telling how they're going to invade your privacy.
I think there's definitely like a police problem, I think, in this country, and there's no denying that we should have like a serious talk about police practices. I think like there's certainly room for improvement, and they have on occasions, and it's been documented, abused their power. I wish they would go the same way as hard on thugs who are actually stealing billions before the public eye, the same way they are cracking down on poor people of color who have like doing no harm to other people. I think they should go bother like the rich people who are stealing money before the poor people, the same way they are like bothering poor people who don't have any money.
And isn't it something? Because when you think about it, look at all of these people. Okay, they went out of the country. A lot of whites have left the country, and I believe they think that we're gonna have a war. But I don't know how long you've been here. But back maybe it could have been like 10 years ago. There were so many whites here in this county, and all of a sudden the county started going down. They started fixing up everything. And one lady, she went to one of those meetings, and she mentioned why that strip down there is all messed up. They got, for 4 years, she saw F the police on the bus stop, and she said that y'all talking about y'all want businesses to come here, but it's all messed up. So what I'm seeing here, if this county is being stripped of its tax money to build it up, fix it up, and it's being distributed to other people, other counties, what in the world is going on that one of the richest counties is going down? Something's wrong. Somebody's stealing. Somebody's stealing, but nobody cares. But why don't they care? Why is it? Because it's it's
They don't care because you're poor.
Okay.
I think I think money talks a great deal, and
Okay.
I think organizing and people who are marching may like bring about some solution.
Okay.
I think also like there may be some difference in courts. I think there may be victories you can achieve in courts, and there may be some victories you can achieve like by protesting. But those are, in my opinion, like the two ways of actually going towards a more progressive society. And but if you're poor, like they have no reason to care about you because you don't have money. You know what I mean? Why should they care about you? You're poor. And it shouldn't be that way. But money talks a great deal in this country, and influence is where money is.
Right, that's true. You're telling the truth. Now listen to this. I was reading a book one day, and it was called China Speaks, and it was kind of like a copycat to me of what they're going to do here. They were taking the retarded people from the parents, and they said, "Oh, we need to see your son." They beat him up, kill him, and then they said, "Where's my son at?" "Oh, he wasn't feeling well. We put him somewhere in the hospital, and he died." They never see his body, never nothing. But I was beginning to say, they would go into people's houses. They were pregnant. They had this law: you couldn't have no more than 2 children. So not to hold you up, but then I said, "Wow, I have a feeling they're gonna do the same thing here." And so when you feel like something's gonna be copycatted, and you can see it, it's like history repeats itself. And you say, well, what are we gonna do? Because I read this book, and I read this book, like the book called, there's a book I got over there right there. It's called By the Grace of God, about the Congo, what happened in Congo, and the Tutsi. Remember the Tutsi tribe? Remember how they got into a fight with that other tribe, and they was killing them?
You're talking about Rwanda.
Yeah. Is that Rwanda?
Yeah.
Is it? Because it was just terrible. But look at these race wars.
You're talking about ethnic wars,
Ethnic-
tribal wars.
Okay, tribal wars.
Yeah.
And it never ends. I mean, but it shouldn't be like that, should it? It shouldn't.
Well, I think that war has been dramatized quite a bit, and I think we don't know the full reasons behind it, and I think that there were, like in every war, like I previously did other videos which are not posted on YouTube, and I talk more about wars. There's always some benefits to a war,
Okay.
and like it's better to look at in analyzing any situation. Look at the people who are benefiting from the war. Look at it from a chess perspective and say who has to gain from waging war. And usually it's the people who are selling arms. It's the arms manufacturer who is like gonna make money by selling and so I think when I talk more about going into a gunless society or militaryless society, I think we should really think about that.
That's deep. So check this out. So what you just said. So right now they're working on disarming the citizens of the United States. And you know from American history, probably, that when the citizens were allowed to be armed, it was because to protect themselves from the enemies that the military might not pick up if they come to my home and they're gonna invade my home, they're gonna rape my daughter, whatever. So I have a gun, I have a weapon. But now they want to take that from the citizen, not because I'm a threat to you or somebody else, but I believe it's because they're getting ready to do something to the citizens themselves. So how do we detect that we're going to be the next victim?
The next victims.
Victims to something the government is plotting.
Well, I think the U.S. government has always plotted and has always done things because it suited its own interests. And I have never known of a government who acted solely to protect human rights or I think there may be people out there who are interested in this, and I think they should be given the forefront of talks and whatnot. But the government, especially the U.S. or any other governments, they always act in their own interest. It's power that they're after, and and power does not always coincide with human rights. You know what I mean? Sometimes power coincides with crashing of other individuals, and so I think
So it's greed versus humanity.
I think so. I think so.
My God. And this is deep though, because you don't see many advocates for human rights. I mean, as far as like
I think you're right because I do not know of many either, and I mean I do know of a few, but I think they're being how would you say hushed up or told to shut up, and told to not talk about things. And I think it takes quite a lot of courage to say that it's not okay for this thing to happen. I think it takes courage, really.
yes, it does. It's deep because like let's say I'm homeless. I speak up, but nobody knows where I live. But every time you turn around, I got different disguises, wigs or whatever, eyeglasses, whatever. But nobody know where I live. But they hear about my voice. They hear my voice. They hear about what I got to say about what's going on. They find out that I know something, and so they either I'm a threat or I might not be a threat. But if I'm not a threat, then they'll make me a threat.
Well, I think we also have to be careful in how we are defining threats in this country. You know what I mean? For me, the threats coming from the police who I see are abusing their authority, and when people are calling the police terrorists, and so I think we should talk more about police practices. I think we have got to be careful of how one sees the threat. The threat may be coming from people who are arbitrarily incarcerating people, arbitrarily terrorizing people, arbitrarily torturing people, and those are the people who are threatening, and so I think we have got to be careful in how we view threats.
And then who's behind the scenes? It's like, for example, if I tell somebody to go and say something to you, and you thinking that they said it, but really I told them to say it. So it makes you wonder who's behind enforcing them to do, because nobody's coming against them that's in authority over them to stop them from doing it. So if they're not going to be stopped by their superiors, then who's really behind them being able to execute what they're doing? Enforce what they're doing, this abuse, this violence. Because usually influence trickle from the top to the bottom, but how can the bottom now affect the top when they're just the ones who are getting orders to do things, and some things they're not giving orders to do, the abuse, so it's really confusing.
I think you're right. I think there is a clear disrespect for the rules and the regulations in this country. I think the ideal society is that which obeys and respects its own laws. The moment people are not respecting the rules, the moment people are saying we are above the rules, we are above the regulations, I think then there starts to become a problem. You know what I mean? I think everybody should be not above the law, but respective of the law. And I think when people are no longer respective of the law, respective of the Constitution and the regulations, and we notice that there is a terrorizing of poor people of color, a targeting of poor people of color, a torture of poor people of color, and so I think there is those issues start to be, become a problem for this country.
I like the way you put that because I call it all lawlessness, but then when you think about what you're saying, lawlessness, and then to bring it back that spirit of racism, so it's like a dominating. They want to use it as a dominating force to destroy the lives of men, and so it's really spooky. But I'm really in search of what in the world could be done because I'm not scared to speak out, and I'm not scared to do.
Well, I think you should be more scared. I think you should be more. I think anybody should be more scared about speaking out, because there are consequences, and people are paying the consequences on a daily basis, and so I think you have to judge your own self in time and in history. I think you have to got to, you know, like, do you have a good conscience at the end of the day? And when you are going to, like, on your final days, on your final moments, like,
Okay.
do you have, like, a good conscience? You know,
Yeah.
would you have wished to have spoken out?
Yes, that's right.
You know, I
That's
think.
interesting. I like that. I like that. That's interesting because you're right. Because in other words, it's like a homosexual, and I'm gonna use what you're saying in that case. Okay, if I'm gonna create an enemy and it's increasing of homosexuality, then why would I create an enemy if I know that they're gonna say, I heard you say something against me? How can I deal with them better? I would think in wise, using wisdom, that I would just, pray for them and not say a word of negativity against them, even though I don't like what they're doing.
I think you're right. I think you may not like what they may be doing, but at the same time be respective of who they are. I think there's a difference there, and I think we should be. Quite personally, I am an acknowledgement of the homophobic attitudes that are out there, and so, like, I'm saying that is not okay in any way, and I think any hatred whatsoever is not okay. And any homophobic threats or, like, hate is definitely not okay, and I'm okay with saying that, quite honestly. But that being said, I am somewhat uncomfortable too, and
Yeah, it's a little spooky.
I mean, yes, I mean, uh, p- you may acknowledge like a hating behavior,
Yeah.
and still be, like, uncomfortable. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then if you're nice looking, you don't want to become a victim. You know what I mean? You don't want to be a victim because you're nice looking. And then you have you have the girls doing it in the public, but then you got the guys. But then you got there's a lot of cases. Sometimes they even I've heard of some cases where they aggressively or just try to rape you if you're a man.
Well, I think I've heard of those cases too, and it's like, it's not like I can say something about it because all we're reading again is from the newspaper. I believe you mentioned, like, that story, and I think people have read that story. But again, like, I'm talking to journalists more these days because I'm not sure how they're printing these stories, and in what way they're choosing to print these stories. I think a great deal of emphasis should be put on stories which are worth printing and not what authority wants you to print. I think we have got to be, like, more careful, and I think we have got to be
Yeah.
more selective of the people we are printing and the people who are printed on occasions.
You know what came to me when you were saying that? I know you gotta go, but what came to me when you were saying that was if I have a right not to be raped, and if I'm a woman and two women say they want me, and if I have a right not to be raped, if you have the right to be homosexual, I should have the right not to be raped, being that that's a threat now present with men raping men, and so I have a right to say no, I don't want to have sex with you, even though you may have this desire to have sex with me being the same sex. If I don't want to have sex with you, then why should I be considered, how can I say it, antisocial and make guilt trip on? I feel guilty and feel so bad.
I think you're right, but I also think we should think about it, like, in another way. I think we should think more about issues of rape towards and issues of consequence. I don't think the consequences are the same for everyone. I don't think a white female getting raped, as abominable as the act may be, the act is not the same when it's a white female compared to a black female. Or, like, if you're putting the same value on lives, like, you should be punishing everyone the same way. And a white female being raped should be treated the same way as a black female being raped. I think there should be, like, no divergence in the way we are punishing those who are perpetrating this crime.
Isn't this? That's interesting. That's interesting because oh wow, good gracious. That's really interesting. So you gotta go.
Yes, I do.
Oh, thanks for it's an honor meeting you. You sure you don't want another one?
I'm good. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
bye.
It was a pleasure talking to you.